great to have the panel. I had a chance to meet each one of you, and I really do think that the most important thing when we get into these rules and regulations is the state perspective, because they're the ones who have to carry these things out, have to pay for all this stuff. So we're here today with state officials and on the CO2 regulations for existing power plants. Existing, not the new ones. The Clean Power Plan is unprecedented in scope, complexity, and requirements it will impose on state governments. That's what you guys are going to have to carry out. Yeah. The proposal undermines the long-standing concept of cooperative federalism under the Clean Air Act, where the federal government is meant to work in partnership with the states to achieve the underlying goals. Instead, the rule forces states to redesign the ways they generate, manage, and use electricity in a manner that satisfies President Obama's extreme climate agenda. Now, to date, we have 32 states who have opposed this rule. Put that, you got that chart up? There's the chart. There's 32 states that oppose the rule. 12 states, including my state of Oklahoma, are suing the agency over a lack of authority to promulgate the proposals. 9 states have passed resolutions in their legislatures that express limits to the proposal's application. 5 states have passed laws that would limit the proposal's application. Had the EPA engaged in meaningful dialogue with all these states, the agency would not be rushing ahead to impose such an unfair and unworkable and likely illegal regulation. While the EPA is busy selling this as a plan to save the world from global warming, we know that this rule will have minuscule impacts on the environment. In fact, last week during the EPA budget hearing, Administrator McCarthy admitted that the agency has yet to do any modeling that would measure the proposal's impacts on temperatures and sea level rise. There's a reason for that, and the reason for that is that NERA, which is a very highly respected group on economic modeling and analysis, used the EPA's models and numbers and found that after spending $479 billion over a 15-year period, we would see the double-digit electricity prices increase in 43 states, reduce grid reliability resulting in voltage collapse and cascading outages. However, the Clean Power Plan would reduce CO2 concentrations by less than 0.5%. Global average temperatures rise would be reduced by only 0.01 degrees Fahrenheit, and sea level rise would be reduced by 0.3 millimeters, which is the thickness of 3 sheets of paper. Further, any perceived benefits will be rendered pointless by the continued emissions growth in India and in China. You hold that up a little higher so we can see it. That's a good chart there. And you can see the problems, and this is the whole point that Administrator Jackson was talking about. You know, what we do unilaterally here in the United States isn't going to have that much effect because it doesn't affect other countries. These results, or lack thereof, show that this rule is not about protecting the environment or saving lives of the local citizenry. This proposal is about expanding the government's control into every aspect of American lives. As MIT climate scientist Richard Lindzen, and Richard Lindzen's noted to be one of the foremost climatologists in the country, he said, "Controlling carbon is a bureaucrat's dream. If you control carbon, you control life." EPA's rushed timeline, impractical assumptions, and arbitrary mandates pay no mind to the fact that this will be damaging to state economies and local residents. Their proposals are nothing more than a blatant and selfish power grab. We have been through these arguments multiple times before, most recently when the President failed to garner enough support for cap and trade under the Democrat-controlled House and Senate. We're talking about back when Nancy Pelosi was a majority, and so they had the White House and the House and the Senate. They couldn't get a majority vote in order to support this. So I appreciate very much all of the people coming so we can hear the voices from the states, and it's nice of you to take the time to be here. Senator Boxer.